Win game week 24 lineups in the Premier League in a couple of seconds here. Hey, it's Adam Zdroik. Here we go. We got 10 matches coming up on the weekend in the Premier League. We've only had about 5 press conferences on Thursday, 15 tomorrow, but I'm a little too busy tomorrow. And plus, we got the So Rare deadline early Friday, so we're not going to get half of those press conferences anyway. But check out rotowire.com/soccer. You have our news section here. We got the news of Olise. Like Olise going to be out for a little bit. Gahey out for a few weeks as well. Maybe Onana's coming back. And then, of course, we do other leagues. We got some signings in MLS. Duncan Maguire is staying with Orlando City after his busted transfer to Blackburn. That's been a fun thing to follow over the last few days. We also got the issue going on with Manuel Neuer. Looks like he could be an option to start this weekend, and Jadon Sancho. We'll see if he starts on Friday. We also have some MLS previews. We got 6 MLS previews coming out over the next couple weeks, written by one of our new writers, Deke Matthews here. So we've got part 1, part 2, and those are going to be coming out. The next 4 are going to be coming out shortly. But as usual, we got FPL rankings, Fantrax rankings, pickups. We got a match of the week review written by our guy Will. He did Arsenal Liverpool, of course, this past weekend. Dive into that. Some good info in that. But let's get into our cheat sheets here because that's what I'm using for lineups. Rotowire.com/soccer trial. It's a 48-hour trial. We got 10 matches here. The cheat sheets have a little bit of everything. And if you haven't been paying attention, we've added a few things to the cheat sheets. So let me check here. We got free kicks, we got player stats, we added goalie stats. We now have goalie stats here, so you can actually go to goalie stats, click on who gets the most clean sheets per 90 minutes. Actually, it's Kelleher. It's Liverpool's backup, who has 2 starts in the Premier League, and I guess he has 1 clean sheet in that time. You can also, saves per 90. All these stats are on here, or if you want to download them. We also have team stats per match. Instead of not just team conceded stats per match, we have team stats per match as well. So that's another added thing. Arsenal, Manchester City leading the league in corners. But let's get into lineups here. That's what everyone it came for. Make sure to like this video if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. First match, we got Saturday morning, Manchester City home against Everton. How is Manchester City going to look? So we got Champions League coming up. Manchester City, I believe they're home against Copenhagen on Tuesday, next Tuesday. So we could see some rotation, but Pep doesn't usually rotate a ton. The questions will be, so I guess let's get into it. So the question will be, is Doku going to come into the 11 here? Is Grealish going to come into the 11? Or are those guys going to come in Champions League? So this is actually the lineup that they used at Brentford on Monday. I decided no real reason to change it. Haaland's back, De Bruyne's back. And, Pep kind of went with Foden, Bernardo Silva on the wings, and then you got Julian Alvarez kind of in the middle next to De Bruyne. But again, these guys move all over the place, and Rodri's in there. And I mean, wasn't a little bit, they usually have the 3-2-4-1 that they've done in the past. Maybe a little bit, Vardiol moving up at times, Kyle Walker moving up at times, kind of a thing. But we'll see how it turns out. Again, Doku, Grealish, probably the main questions of coming in. And John Stones is also an option, Akanji an option to come into the back line. Just kind of stuff we can't really predict here, given, look at this. I think Manchester City are the only team in the league without any injuries or suspensions. So when that's the case, Pep really can do whatever he wants. Also, Matheus Nunes and Kovacic has started recent matches as well. So those guys are in there. Everton, maybe not as many questions. Amadou Onana is back in light training. I don't think he's going to be ready to start. He's been out for a couple, maybe 2-3 weeks now at this point, so I don't think he's going to move into the 11. So this is pretty much looking like what they did in their last 1 to 2 matches, definitely their last match. But I think they had I guess it wasn't a cup match. We did have those midweek league games 1 week ago. So I think this is kind of what they're going to run out again. I think the one question will be, is Ben Godfrey going to remain in the starting 11? Let's click into his profile here. He's got back-to-back starts, but Seamus Coleman got some minutes, got 15 minutes off the bench last week. Question is Seamus Coleman going to be back in the starting 11? He might be, when healthy, he might be the preferred right back for Sean Dyche. That could be the case here. I'd say we're close to a 50-50 decision here, but given Seamus Coleman's injury history over the past year, came back, got a couple starts from his original knee injury, got injured again. Now he's back again. So we'll see if he's back in the 11 over Ben Godfrey. And it looks like Nathan Patterson is kind of the third string right back at this point, unfortunately for him. Otherwise, Ashley Young's been starting a little more forward here, as you can see in this midfield role. So, if Onana comes in, Ashley Young will probably be the guy on the outside looking in terms of the starting 11. But this is no changes from Everton's last game. Luton Town, similar case, no changes. When you can, what was that final result? 4-4 at Newcastle. When you can get 4 goals at Newcastle, why are you going to change your lineup? So that's kind of how I feel. Agbane has been awesome on the wing. I know they got Issa Kabore back from AFCON, but at this point, why are you going to change up what's clearly working? So you got Doughty and Agbane on the wings. Jordan Clark and Carlton Morris have come into starting roles, and both of them, with them moving into the starting 11, I think it's kind of like added a little bit. Carlton Morris was their leading scorer last season. He got benched, 2 months in the season or so. Now he's back in the 11 playing without Adebayo, which is kind of what they did last season in the championship. Now we got Jordan Clark back from his injury, and that seemed to be working. So as you can see, Andros Townsend not in the preferred 11 here. Jordan Clark in the preferred 11 over Townsend. So those are kind of things there. Lokonga's back in there, so he has been getting starts. Otherwise, this is kind of what Luton Town have been doing. Sheffield United, what are we going to do here? 5-0, not competitive at all at Aston Villa. I don't know. Take a guess here, I guess, is what I'll say. So Ivo Gerbrich will remain out because of a concussion. And Chris Wilder at his press conference today was like, whoever starts at goalkeeper, we have full faith in them, or whatever he said. And it's like, okay, is Wes Foderingham going to start, or are you going with someone else because they just gave up 5 goals? And that's kind of how I feel about the rest of the lineup. How much are they going to change here? I changed a couple things, but again, look at this lineup. You can't really change too much. I took out Andre Brooks, the youngster. Mason Holgate remains in there. I think I took out Jack Robinson from the last game from the starting 11. We'll see how they line up. I moved in Ben Osborne, though. I believe Ben Osborne came in at halftime of that last game. Actually, yeah, early in the second half against Aston Villa. Played 40 minutes. Maybe he's in there for Andre Brooks. Hammer back in the starting 11. Is McBurney going to be available? He had a calf issue last week, so he wasn't even in the squad. If he's available, if he's ready to start, I think McBurney starts. If not, probably Asula again. But again, no guarantees. They just look very bad. This is a spot where they can get points at Luton Town. So how is this team gonna work out here? Liverpool home against Burnley. And as we can see here, I throw in Connor Bradley. We do have the suspension to Konate. I'm just looking here. I'm not actually sure Mohamed Salah is questionable. So some things, we got to change here. Some things we got to change on our end. But as we can see here, I did this last week, ended up not mattering because Connor Bradley, he was not available for last week's game. His father passed away, so he was not available. But I think given how he's played, Connor Bradley is going to get the start at right back. He's played awesome since coming in the starting 11. He was a player I actually projected minutes for before the season because if everyone remembers correctly, Trent Alexander-Arnold ended last season playing in a midfield role, still kind of moves up to the midfield role a little bit here. But he also in the preseason, he was listed in this 4-3-3 in a midfield role. And that's what I have right here. A bit of a change, but I think you're home against Burnley. I think this is a time to try it. Try TAA in the midfield here. You don't have Szoboszlai's out with a hamstring injury. I got Joe Gomez in over Robertson again. He's been playing well. I guess I didn't mention Kwanzaa starting over Kanate, but the big news here, so TAA and Connor Bradley both starting. Is it going to happen? Who knows? But I think there's a chance that that's what we see. Otherwise, it would be, okay, TAA starting at right back, Bradley obviously not starting in that situation. Maybe Gravenberch is in the midfield, or Harvey Elliott gets a start with Szoboszlai out. Otherwise, Jones and McAllister, I think those guys have set spots here. And then this is what we're looking at in the front three. Nothing new. Burnley, a few changes for Burnley because, they added some guys in the transfer window, and those guys got minutes immediately. Talking about Assignon, started at right back. Charlie Taylor, actually, it sounds like he's going to be available again, so he could be in at left back. And I wonder if that's going to move Vitinho out of the starting 11. Something I think it's possible. I'll still say, I don't know, about 60-40 on Vitinho starting. And I'm giving the start to Esteve here, new signing Maxime Esteve. He's in for someone. Delcroix's been out for a few weeks, but he should be back. Jordan Beyer, no mention by Vincent Kompany in his press conference. Who is it? Ekdal. I believe Esteve took over for Ekdal in the game against Fulham last weekend. Otherwise, this is kind of what they've been running out. Goodmunson, Odebear on the wings. I am starting David Fofana at this point. I think he already has 3 goals for Burnley. I guess those are 2 goals and an assist, unless he scored in the cup game or something like that. So I got David Fofana starting over Abdouni up front next to Foster. So Fofana getting the start, his first start for Burnley here. So that's the changes right there for Burnley. Basically 3 guys that they brought in the transfer window already getting starts. So, given their lineup, good on them for actually finding players that you can actually start. Fulham home against Bournemouth, and not a ton of changes you can do here because Raul Jimenez is out. Iwobi is still out at AFCON. Same with Bassi. Diop's not expected to return. There's not a ton you can do here. The change would be Tom Kearney starting over Harrison Reed, but Harrison Reed started and he went 90 last game, so I got Reed in over Kearney again. Castañas again been preferred over Kenny Tete all season, and because of the lack of center backs, Tim Ream and Rubio are still in there. Otherwise, because with Harry Wilson out, I will be out. That's what they got in the front 4. The question is, okay, maybe Broja starting over Rodrigo Muniz, but Muniz did score in the game at Burnley, so I figure let's just give the start to Muniz. Though I do think it's possible that Broja gets his first Fulham start in this one. Bournemouth, and we're looking at not too many changes. Tavernier was actually dropped over the weekend because he's just a guy you don't want to run too much, starting 2 matches in the matter of 4 days or whatever it is. But Semenyo was actually pulled at halftime of Bournemouth's last game because of a tactical decision. So that leads me to put Tavernier and Sinistera in the starting 11, and we still got Cook, Christie, and Alex Scott. Clivert is an option to start there. He did get the goal last game. So that will be a discussion pretty much the rest of the way. Is Clivert going to be in the spot? Is Alex Scott going to be in the spot? Or is he going to take the spot of Lewis Cook? I mean, Cook and Christie have been playing really well this season. So that's kind of why it's hard to take those guys out. And that's why Alex Scott has moved in this more attacking role. So they got a few options that they can use. Philip Billing is suspended, though, from his red card. We have Lloyd Kelly is healthy. He's preferred to Kirkesh at left back. And then Adam Smith is kind of their only healthy right back. So he's in there. Wolverhampton, I don't think I have any changes here. But the question is, are we going to get Heechan back in the starting 11? I'll come up with this question when Son, with Tottenham and Son. But I don't think we're going to see Hwang Heechan start just yet. I know Son is back with Tottenham today. I'm going to assume Heechan is back with Wolverhampton today as well. So that gives a couple days here. So this is a Saturday match. Tottenham plays Saturday as well. These guys have played a lot. Heechan, again, was coming back from an injury as well. If he comes in, he'd probably be in for Sarabia. Another option would be Bellegarde starts over Sarabia as well. But at this point, they just won 4-2 in their last game. You got to figure they probably are going to start the same squad that they had last game. So those are my thoughts on Wolverhampton. Brentford, pretty much the same squad as well as the loss against Manchester City because they played okay in the game against Manchester City. At some point, when you allow 3 goals to Phil Foden on whatever it was, 0.68 XG, at some point, you kind of got to take that like, okay, we actually kind of played well. So same lineup for Brentford. That means Sergio Reguilon is on the left side. Maz Rushlev is on the right side. But we do have Saman Ghoddos is back from the Asian Cup as well. So he is going to be an option to come in. The question is, where is he going to fit? He was basically, I forget what it was, started 8 straight matches before the Asian Cup. So something to keep an eye on. If he comes in, maybe it'll be for Rearslev. I don't think it'll be for Reguilon, but it'll probably be for Rearslev. Maybe his speed will help a little bit more on the wings, dealing with whoever is going to be on the left side there for, I guess, dealing with Aiden Arita there, if that's the case. So that would be the one question with Brentford, but I think this is kind of what we're looking at. This is a pretty set lineup for them. I don't think they're going to go back to a 4-3-3. Not guaranteed, but I don't think they're going to do the 4-3-3 in this spot just yet. I think they're going to wait. I take that back. I do think a 4-3-3 is still in range here. If that happens, we'll probably get Keane Lewis Potter in the front 3, and then we're going to move Nathan Collins out of the starting 11. So I do think that is possible, but clearly I don't think that's going to happen just yet, because again, I say this, I have to say this in every show, but Thomas Frank, he does a 3-5-2 against better competition, and he does a 4-3-3 against weaker competition. But he's had to go to a 3-5-2 pretty much in the last month or two because of so many injuries in this team. But now that they're getting some guys back, now that Reguilon's in the squad, maybe he's going to be more comfortable going back to the 4-3-3. So something to keep an eye on. Tottenham, we got the big question here. I tweeted out earlier today on the RotoWire Soccer account, but we have they have so many guys available now. So Basuma is available now. Pape Sarr is available now. And that's already in addition to Bentancur, Oliver Skip, Højbjerg. Again, Dragusin hasn't really played for him because Romero and Van de Ven have been healthy for a little bit. And now we get Son back. And now we get Kulishevsky's not even in this. So there's basically 6 options to play in this front 4 for them. Timo Werner. I got Timo Werner in right now over Son just because Son's been away from a month. Give him some time to get back in the squad. He's going to have, maybe a half day's worth of training today, full day tomorrow. So maybe you give him some rest because he's played so much for his country over the last month. So I think that's kind of what's going to happen here. Kulishevsky was dropped to the bench last game. I think they kind of go with that again. They had some success in that last game. Richarlison's been in form. Brennan Johnson has played well. There's going to be questions every game. So I think we're looking at Richarlison and Madison are kind of starting every game. Eventually, maybe Son's going to be starting every game. Then we'll be looking at Timo Werner, Brennan Johnson, and Kulishevsky for starts. So it's going to be interesting as we get going with Tottenham to see, who wins these starting spots. And then even in the midfield, because Bentancur is back, who's going to start in the midfield? Is it going to be Sarr and Basuma? Is it going to be Basuma and Bentancur? I think we're looking at Bentancur, Basuma, and then Sarr is kind of going to be that third defensive midfielder. Brighton, look at this. We got to change its formation. So if we look back at Brighton over the past month, they changed formations because they basically didn't have a left-sided winger like Miedema. So I got them back in a 4-2-3-1 with Miedema on the left wing. So that I think that's what's going to happen at least. I think Miedema actually returned to Brighton yesterday. I think he returned. I think Japan played. I think they lost one day before South Korea did. So I'm fairly positive Miedema returned to Brighton earlier. That's why I have Miedema in the starting 11. And then as you can see here, so the 4-2-3-1, I got Estupinian back in the starting 11. I know Lamptey started in that last game. And then Gilmore, Gross, okay. João Pedro, it seems like he's a lock for the starting 11 at this point. And then Buonanote's been starting a bunch as well. They're actually going to get back, not yet, but they're going to get back a Dingra from AFCON next week. So something to keep an eye on. He's not available yet, but he will be available probably next week. So Dingra will be an option soon. The other question is, will Evan Ferguson remain in the starting 11 or will it be Welbeck? I got Welbeck for now. Not confident. This is like a 60-40, maybe even 50-50 kind of situation with Welbeck and Evan Ferguson, but Welbeck has been preferred more recently than Ferguson. All right, moving on here. Nottingham Forest home against Newcastle. So Nottingham Forest, they played on Wednesday in the FA Cup, beat Bristol City on PKs. They actually changed formations in that one. They went back to a 3-4-3, which they could do here. I don't know. This is a question. Again, we've only had about a month of Nuno Santo here in this as a manager for this team. So are they going to do 3-4-3? Are they going to do 4-2-3-1? I think with a healthy, so Hudson-Odoi picked up some kind of knock last weekend, came off the bench midweek. With Awani, also Awani did not start midweek. Origi actually started. Divock Origi actually started midweek and scored. But I think that Nuno's going to want, so you got a healthy Gibbs White, you got a healthy Hudson-Odoi, healthy Elanga, healthy Awani. I think he starts those four guys. I think that's what he's going to lean on here. That's why these games have had more goals. He wants the goals for this team. Otherwise, Nuno on the left side, Nico Williams on the right side. Toffolo started Wednesday, and Montiel started Wednesday as well. So I think those guys are going to come back in. Ryan Yates did not play Wednesday, so I think he moves back in as well next to Danilo, though we do have the return of Kouyaté. So Kouyaté could be in the starting 11 here. He returned from AFCON and started Wednesday. So he is an option to come in as a defensive midfielder. So that'll be one thing where it's not guaranteed we're going to get Ryan Yates or Danilo to be starting every game. Newcastle, not many changes to make. Bounce back spot for Dan Burn, I guess. He got roasted by Igbene last game. But I still think he remains in the starting 11. He has a long enough track record that he's not going to be benched for being slower than one of the fastest guys in the league, kind of a thing. The big change here, Callum Wilson is available, and I assume he's ready to start here. Anthony Gordon went off, I think it was at halftime last weekend, not going to be available, or probably not going to be available. Not going to be available to start, I should say. So we got Callum Wilson back in 11, Almiron, Murphy on the wings. Otherwise, no changes there. West Ham. The big question here, as we can see, Ben Johnson playing in this attacking midfield role. Some of that was how the match went. West Ham were down multiple goals in Manchester United, so Ben Johnson was attacking a little more. We'll see. Mikel Antonio has been pictured in training. I'm not sure if he's actually going to be ready, so something to keep an eye on there. Aguerd returned to the starting 11 in that last game. We did get Calvin Phillips was benched after his rough first outing. I don't think he's going to move back in 11 here, much less, they're playing Arsenal. Not sure it's a great spot to start Calvin Phillips, given how he's looked. So we got Souček, Edson Alvarez, JWP, Kudus, Bowen. With the question being, who is in this spot right here? Who is in this other spot? Maybe it's going to be a change in formation. Maybe they do a 4 or a 5-3-2, something like that, 5-4-1, change things up where I guess it's basically the same lineup. Ben Johnson's just playing a little further back, kind of a thing. And Soufal is, I guess those guys are kind of interchangeable there on the right side. But maybe Antonio's going to be ready to start. I don't think so. He's been out for a couple months. Bowen right there. Again, just pretty thin roster overall. Arsenal, I think Saka's going to be okay. I wouldn't worry about this. Probably could remove this. I'm not sure. He limped off a little bit in that game against Liverpool, but I think he's fine overall. I got Kiwior in, though. Zinchenko, don't think he's going to be ready to start in this one. So Kiwior playing at left back. Jorginho getting another start. He went 90 against Liverpool. And Havertz. Okay, Havertz in here. Yeah, he started in the spot against Liverpool. Gabriel Jesus probably coming off, I think it's a knee issue for Gabriel Jesus here. I don't think he's gonna be ready to start. So, and you're coming off a win. He set up Saka's goal. Havertz did. I think they remain in this lineup here against West Ham. So Havertz playing in the false nine-ish role for Arsenal. Aston Villa home against Manchester United. So as Riconza's out, that means Matty Cash starts here. Alex Moreno remains in the 11 because Digne is still out. We do have a question here because this is pretty much the lineup they ran out midweek and lost at home against Chelsea. So we could see Moussa Diaby in for Leon Bailey. I think that is, a 50-50 situation on if Bailey's going to start or if Diaby's going to start. And then we have a chance of Zaniolo or Ramsey starting over Tielemans. I think, again, this is a 50-50 situation. This is even like a 40, maybe I'm just going to say 40% Tielemans, 30% Ramsey, and 30% Zaniolo to start. I'm not above 50% that Tielemans is going to start in this one, but just run out the same lineup here for him. Manchester United, we know about Lisandro Martinez's injury, so that moves Harry Maguire into the 11. And again, they've been playing well, so why are you going to change anything else? This is what they've been doing. Garnacho's been playing a little more on the right side. Casemiro's been playing with alongside Kobe Mainoo there. Otherwise, no changes there. And then Crystal Palace, there will be changes. Look at this back line. How long ago did they add Wharton and Daniel Munoz? Not very long ago. Adam Wharton came on for the injured Mark Gahey, who is out for this match. We'll see if Joe Ward's going to be available. You got to think Joe Ward will start if available, but Adam Wharton did come on for Gahey in that last game. So there's a question at center back. I guess they could also move Chris Richards back and play him there, but I don't think that'll happen. Let's actually, as I'm thinking about this a little more, let me check exactly where Wharton was playing when he came on, because let me see here. All right. Just had to move my screen here. Wharton did play, so maybe we could actually see, maybe we might see Wharton actually play in a more midfield role than Chris Richards because he did play a lot of defensive midfielders. So I might actually change it. I might change Wharton to defensive midfielder next to Lerma, move Chris Richards back to center back. I think I'm actually going to do that there. Otherwise, Munoz started at right back. Okay, we know Mitchell's in there. We know Eze's out. We know Elise is out. What are they going to do here? A more defensive look will be, as usual, playing Schlupp on that left wing. Are they going to put Edouard and Mateta together? That is a possibility. Ayew is in there. Will Hughes is in there out of necessity because they have no one else. Maybe Franca. Dang it. I always mix up this name. How do we say his name? Franca? I heard it on one of the recent broadcasts and I forgot. Franca. Oh, well, we'll figure it out at some point. But they're, 18, 19-year-old Brazilian. I think he started a cup game recently. He is an option to come in on the wing. But this is kind of their more defensive look. Maybe Edouard starts. Maybe Franca starts. It's a tough situation right now for Crystal Palace. And I believe Roy Hodgson is the favorite to be sacked next. Chelsea, what do we got here? They got the big win at Aston Villa. Is Ben Chilwell going to be ready to start? We'll see. Probably Ben Chilwell will be ready to start. I believe he started in that Wednesday game, if I remember correctly. We do have some questions with Chelsea because they are healthy now, and they also have Nicholas Jackson back, who I think he scored on Wednesday. Let me look at Wednesday a little bit here. Chilwell went 90, so there's a slight chance Chilwell doesn't start here. It's not, this kind of seemed like they're running him into the ground following injury. He was battling fitness issues a week ago. So I'd say about 65-70 on Chilwell starting here. We got Malo Gusto in there as well. I did remove Caicedo from the starting 11. Maybe a little crazy. So we do have a question of, with Nicholas Jackson back and Nkunku back, how are they going to line up? We don't think Madueke, Mudryk are going to start, but man, I really, they're at Crystal Palace. They're at this defensive Crystal Palace side. You'd think that Pochettino wants to be a little more attacking than throwing Gallagher, Enzo, and Caicedo in there. So again, that lineup did well against Aston Villa, but I just think they're a little more attacking here. So you got Sterling and Nkunku, Cole Palmer, and Nico Jackson there. There is a chance that Nkunku plays in like a false nine role. Maybe Jackson's benched, and you got Sterling and Palmer. I think they did that recently. And then Caicedo's in there. But we'll see. At some point, one of these guys will lose starts, whether it's Caicedo, got Gallagher, Enzo. We'll see how this works out. Again, this is kind of like the Tottenham situation. They have when they get these guys back from AFCON and from the Asian Cup, when they get these guys back from injury, now you got the questions of who's actually going to get these minutes, who's going to get starts. Because Nkunku's back, Jackson was out for the last month. And now you got real questions to answer as a manager. So we'll see how that works itself out. But I think they go a little bit more attacking in the spot against Crystal Palace. But that's 30 minutes. That's a long show here. There we go. That's all we got for the Premier League this week in Game Week 24. Again, thank you for everyone that's listening here. Rotowire.com/soccer trial. But please give a thumbs up on this video on YouTube. Follow along. We have a betting show. Me and Chris Owen, our betting show is going to be up Friday morning. That'll be live Friday morning. We got 8 bets in there, and then we'll have our usual DFS content. And again, as I mentioned at the top of the show, a bunch of other content we have coming out, MLS content, more Premier League content, all that good stuff. And again, check out this cheat sheet. We got all the odds right here. See all the odds on one page. I don't even have to scroll right here. We got the odds report. I can see win percentage, draw percentage, clean sheet percentage, implied goals for all 20 teams on one page. So thank you for watching. Win some bets this weekend, and enjoy watching some football here. Manchester City, Everton, open things on Saturday morning. Thanks again. Enjoy the weekend.